Samantha, think of the crab bucket in a different way.
Okay.
Let's say that the crabs are not trying to pull the crab that's trying to escape down. What if they're trying to hang on to him so he can pull him out?
Hi, and welcome to the Dream Chasers podcast. I am here with Chad McWreath, how long have we known each other?
You know, it's funny. I don't really know anymore.
Okay, so I moved to Pittsburgh in 92. So my guess is...
Well, it's got, here's the thing. Like, it's got to be like 99 or 2000.
Yeah, so 25 years.
It's been long enough that I can't remember.
Well, I mean, I feel like...
That's the thing.
I feel like we sort of circled around each other.
Oh, definitely.
Because we never actually got to work together, did we?
See,
we auditioned together.
Well, we definitely did that, but my thinking is, wasn't there a New Works
that's possible
situation where we floated around each other? I don't think we were in the same
I don't think we were in the same
play.
show, but I think we were in the same
I remember
thing,
seeing you
like
on
the same
stage
day.
and going, "Oh, she's a badass."
You think?
No, seriously. That's the thing with me. Okay, the thing with me is if I'm impressed by you in any way, I'm on you forever because it's the truth with me. Like I'm so easy to look at people and go, man, you're wasting it.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mean that in any kind of critical way. It's just I see people, you know, and they're often the biggest complainers. Mm-hmm. And they're just kind of meandering through the thing. They have strong opinions, but they do very little. Oh my God, Samantha, are you the opposite of that? Okay. So, you know, when you ask me to do this, I'm instantly like, hell yes, I'm going to do that because I'm so impressed by you. And I've always kind of been that way. You know, I'm impressed by people that do things. Yeah. And my God, do you do things? So
sometimes I undo things, but yeah.
Well, whatever. You know, that's an action too.
Yeah.
But all too often, people spend their time, the limited time that we've got, and they're opinionated, but they're not action oriented. And I'm not a fan of that. So when people get out, and you know, especially theater people, you know, performers, people that are putting it out there, risking their ass, you know, at all times. You ask, I do. It's that simple. So I'm here.
Thank you for being here. And thank you for being here sort of last second because we had another person scheduled who had some familial issues. And so thank you for jumping up into the queue. Okay. So, I'm doing this thing because, so as I was planning the podcast and as I was thinking about, and this came out of, so because you haven't watched any of them, so you don't know. So this came out of the whole idea of the chasing of dreams, not necessarily the catching of dreams, but the chasing of them, right? So, because so often people think that dreams aren't worth doing if you don't achieve them, and I disagree with that. I think that just the act of making a decision to go for a dream is valid. So, but that said, so I'm in the shower, which is where I get all my great ideas, and I remembered this poem. So I decided I'm going to start every podcast with a narrative reading of Harlem by Langston Hughes. I don't know if you know this one.
I do not.
What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? Every time I get goosebumps. Every time.
Sags like a heavy load.
Sags like a heavy load. So when you, Chad McWreath, actor and entrepreneur, think of dream chasing, what does that say to you? As I drink my water.
You know, it's funny. It's this idea about dreams. I think it's relative to your nurturing. You know, it's certainly not nature.
Right.
It's about, I think for all of us, it's about your life narrative, right? And I think usually dreams are about what you've been restricted from having, right? Like whatever box you've been painted into. Usually your dream is about getting out of that box.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, dreams apply to any of us from any walk of life, from anywhere on the planet, at any time. So an American dream or a Pittsburgh dream is not necessarily the same as anybody that grew up in Central Africa or Southeast Asia,
right,
or even Antarctica,
right,
if such a thing exists. The point is, you've got this idea of getting out or doing more, right? And I think that, for me, artists generally are dream chasers. You know, they get this idea in their head and they pursue it. Business people often have this kind of idea. Business people that aren't chasing money, I mean.
Right, because there's a difference.
Oh, Lord, is there a difference? You know, business people that want to build ATMs are not dream chasers.
Right.
They're dream crushers.
Yeah.
They're soul crushers.
Right.
They kill for a dime. Okay? I don't believe in that sort of thing. I believe that every single person has their own narrative and a pathway towards happiness, which again is this mythical unicorn that lives on a hill that we'll never get to. Okay?
But it's the pursuit of that happiness.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's every single day that you live is about getting better to be the best person you can be. And if you want to call that chasing a dream, then I'm in a complete agreement with it.
Right.
But if somebody's going to say to me, chasing a dream is about, you know, trying to get to this level of happiness, I would say you're wasting your time. You know, how many poems or art has been created talking about the journey being the thing?
Right.
Okay, and it so is. I mean,
my son has a tattoo. Ooh, bad mommy. But basically, it's like that the journey is the destination.
It
is.
is.
It's like, and I love that.
It is.
I love that.
How many shows have you done? Okay, where it's all about the rehearsals. It's the journey getting to it.
My
the
God.
second that you open, you could give a damn
Hey.
because it's done now. It's done. It's up on its feet.
Final
I'm
Dress
done.
is my absolute favorite.
That's the best thing.
It's the best thing.
It's the journey of creation that gets you there. It's not the creation itself. You know, I mean,
for some people it is. Like
it shouldn't be.
When I tell people, and this is honest to God true, and it's not to judge people who love curtain call, but I hate curtain call. I hate
it's the saddest thing ever.
To my core, I hate curtain call.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't, come on. And I understand that
call.
for the audience, they need to see that. They need to see that person get up off the ground and walk out and see I'm okay, I'm alive, because I play a lot of people who end up dead or killing somebody. So so I know that the audience needs to see that. But for me, you know, because like there's like this, I think there's this idea that anyone who's a performer does it for the applause, and I know that there are a lot of folks who do. I know that there are a lot of folks who do, and I do not in any way, shape, or form want to judge that, because everyone. I know, but I don't. I mean, I get it.
No. Let's talk about that.
Well, hold on. But for me, your gift is sitting there and being wrapped and forgetting who I am as a human being for a second, and just being caught up in this story and believing all the things I'm giving you. Mm-hmm. I don't need your applause. If you want to come up to me afterwards and say that it moved you in some way, or you laughed or whatever, that's fine. But like to stand there and go, please praise me, is weird to me. Oh. I don't like.
It's the worst thing ever.
It's the worst.
It's the worst thing ever.
It's the worst. I also don't like awards, even though I've been winning some lately, which is weird for me. And it's lovely and it's sweet and it's a form of validation, but I don't need that. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm with you.
For different reasons.
I'm with you. And I mean, look, actors, artists, awards, you know, it's nonsense. You know, what I want to see is honesty.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's the reward.
Yeah.
If I see an actor doing something that's outside of their realm of scope, okay, or ability, and then I believe what they did, Jesus, am I
Isn't
a fan
that impressive?
of that? It's the greatest thing ever.
I love
okay,
that so much.
and here's the thing about that For actors, it's not the awards, it's the next gig. Okay, there's your award.
Yeah.
If you've done this and somebody went, oh, they can do that for me, you've succeeded.
Yeah.
Like everybody who produces or directs, they're constantly casting in their mind everything they see, okay, regardless of what you're doing. And the victory for actors is the next gig.
Yep.
You've earned it.
Yep.
Okay, and the easier that gets is based on the success of you know, how you perform. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not the thing that you put on your mantle that somebody that's not affiliated with you gave to you because they thought you did a good job. That's nice enough, and thank you for acknowledging it, but it has nothing to do with my success as an actor or my ability to believe in myself. It has nothing to do with it at all.
Right.
It's a trinket. It's a silliness.
Right.
You know, the thing that you're looking for is to be on the next bill. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. You know, can I do something again, or my fear has always been that I've burned these bridges. You know, that I did something. I was like, oh my God,
Listen,
what did he do?
I burnt some bridges this week.
Oh, you did not.
Oh, I totally burnt some bridges
on
this week.
what?
I was on a project, and I'm not going to save the project. I was on a project, which was lovely, and it's a beautiful script, and it's a very, very talented filmmaker. However, I was promised certain things, and those things didn't happen, and they were huge things. And in a private space, I called this person out, and it got back to this person, and this person has now decided to flame me all over the universe and talk about how unprofessional I am. I'm like, well, did I lie to you? Did I show up every day? Did I do what I was supposed to do? Did I lie to you? Did I promise you things over and over and over again and then not deliver? No? Then you can sit down and shut up.
Well, I can tell you this, okay? I don't think you have anything to worry about. I don't care what this guy or girl is saying at the top of their lungs about you. All you have to do is be seen by everybody else. And everybody goes, yeah, that's not who she is. So we're fine with this.
If you are secure in yourself as a human being, you don't feel the need to run around and flame people. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like, okay, if you don't want to work with me again, okay, I'm moving on.
And what's the
I had a huge win this week.
Give me that. Let me hear that. What was the win?
For your average bear, it's not going to feel like a huge win. I had a casting director text me directly and ask me to submit for a role.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
That's huge.
That's what I'm talking about, though.
Most people don't realize how big that is.
But that's what's earned in this business. When if you want to call it that, but that's the thing. It's not the trophy. It's that moment where somebody's like, I know what you can do.
Yeah.
I've seen you do it. I have faith in your ability to do this. Do you want to come in and do this for me? That's the gold thing of all time. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any problem with auditioning, but the greatest thing ever is when a director or somebody that's producing says, I want you to do this. Yeah. I've seen you do other things. I have faith in you. I like you. This is the thing. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
There's the gold.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Right? I like auditioning and winning.
I like auditioning too. But, I mean, I have to submit an audition for this thing, but the fact that the casting director came to me and said, I want you to audition is huge. And it doesn't guarantee you're going to get it, but that's not the point.
But that's
the
validation point is of everything that you do.
Right.
There's the validation in
right.
it. And this is the same thing that artists have happened to them, okay? After a while, everybody knows what they do, that they're capable of. And then everybody's like, I don't need to go judge this. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next thing that this person does, whether it's music or art or whatever the hell it is. You have faith that whatever they're going to do is something meaningful and interesting.
I feel like I'm on the edge of a thing. Because, like, I haven't booked a whole lot of stuff recently, but the stuff I keep getting brought in for just keeps getting bigger.
Look, man,
I got brought in works. I got an audition for a series regular. For some animated thing. I didn't get it, but I was asked to audition for a series regular.
Those things are great.
I've got 3 co-stars under my belt, and that's it, but I'm getting asked to audition for series regular. I'm like, okay, at some point, someone's going to hire me.
There was and
I got a manager, because I'm all kinds of fancy.
Oh, that's badass.
You know, in Los Angeles. I feel so fancy right now.
Are they actively involved with you, or you're getting
I just got her.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's a lot of mutual respect happening there.
Well,
she's really cool. I like her a lot.
You know.
Well, I mean, like we're still in the gathering paperwork phase.
Well, but see, the reason that somebody wants to manage you is because, and I mean this in the best way possible, they think they can make money with you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's about.
Right.
This is a business.
Right.
And they wouldn't do it if they didn't, like I'm not going to get back into my story, but
you're the guest.
No, almost all of it is nonsense. But I was doing theater, 25 years ago somewhere. I think it was Little Lake or something like that. I don't know where it was. It might have been Penn Avenue with Moats up here. I don't remember exactly what it was. But whatever, I did a show, and Stephen Black saw me, the talent group, you know, and he came up to me afterwards, and I was just, actually, I will tell the story. In 1998, I was in this auto accident, okay, and I was nearly killed. My head was caved in. I ended up with temporal lobe epilepsy. I'm fine now, and thank you for your concern. But I ended up with this temporal lobe epilepsy, and I was having trouble with short-term memory. Yeah, it was a sincere issue for me, for a lot of different things. Like I was having trouble remembering weird things, and it was bothering me. And the girl that I was dating at the time said, "You know what you should do is try to do a play and see if you can remember the lines." And I'm like, "Well, this sounds like the stupidest thing ever because I'll be on the stage. What if I can't remember?" And I did
force the synapses to do the thing,
right? Like and it was good for me. It was really the smartest thing I could have done, and it actually opened up a whole different life for me doing that. But I auditioned for a play at Little Lake because I grew up in Canonsburg, and it was the only thing I knew. I was like, I don't even know where else to go. I know nothing about anything in the world at this time. And somebody cast me to do it was Charita Nemec, and she was like this person that had been at Little Lake Theater for 1 billion years. Like literally, she did 1 billion shows down there. And she's like, "Yeah, we'll put you in this play called Fools." And I played Snetsky or something like that. And I still remember the first line. Like I rolled out on the stage and I go, "Elenya, Lebedov, Marushka, where are you?" And it's about this crazy dude who apparently could have been having sex with his sheep, and he was chasing his female sheep, and those were the names of his female sheep, and he's whatever, and it was perfect for me at that point. But I did that play, and then this guy came up to me, is Stephen Black, and he's like, "We could make money together doing this." I'm like, "What are you talking about, chasing the sheep around?" And he said, "No, you could do commercial work." I'm like, "This is Pittsburgh, right? Like, what the hell are you talking about?" And then it just led to a whole life. Like, literally, I'm sitting here today because of that moment. If I don't get into that accident, I don't jump. This is the whole thing. But if we bring that full circle about, dreams, chasing them, dreams evolve. Mm-hmm. They become different things over time. Like when I was a kid, my dream was just getting the hell away from my parents. Yeah, I mean that. Like my parents weren't evil people, okay? They weren't that, but they were unhappy people. Oh, okay, unhappy people, and unhappy people just suck the life out of everything. They're not enjoying themselves. They're not living the lives they want to, and as a result, they end up squeezing you or pushing you away from the things that you want to do.
Right.
So you end up thinking,
I'm miserable, so you should be miserable too.
Oh, it's the thing.
Yeah.
The rain that's on them is going to get on you. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's just the way it goes. We're all going to get wet, and it's going to be a gray sky no matter what we do. And they're smoking, and they're angry, and whatever it might be. And I spent my whole life going, "Man, this sucks. I want to be happy. I want to do something that's fun. What are we doing here?" And that was my first dream, is to get away from that. And then I started to get away from that, and I was like lost and aimless. And then I had that crazy accident, and I started at that moment. I said to myself, "Jesus, man, I got to start doing something that I want to do with my life." And it just so happened to be acting. It just so happened to be that at that moment in my life, and I was like, I really love this. I love it. I love everything about this. I love the process. I love what it does for me. I love the fact that I'm changing as a result. I love the fact that I'm growing and I'm listening to more people and meeting more people and understanding more different types of lifestyles, and not being so stupidly judgmental about things that I don't know about. And as a result, I became a better person almost instantly. Yeah. And that was me fulfilling the dream. Well, right. Sure, absolutely. But it taught me, it fulfilled the dream that I had as a child of escaping the black box that I was in then. Yeah. Right? So I did that. That.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I did it. Oh, my God, look at me. Like, oh, my God, I'm on the big stage here at Little Lake Theater. Like, whatever, Oh, my God, look at me. And then the dreams change, right? Like, I'm watching you pursue 50 dreams at the same time. And there's the point. It's not just one thing, right, Samantha? I mean, it's 50 things. Like, you want to do 50 things, and I'm probably undershooting it with you, because you got 50 things going on at the same time. I'm like, how does she even sleep, this girl? Like, look at her.
I have to sleep or I can't function.
Yeah, but I don't think that you do that voluntarily. I think that you just collapse. You know, after the 50 things that you've done today, you make me feel guilty about myself. Like I just watch your stuff and I'm like, Jesus, I'm not doing anything. You know, I don't know.
It's so fun. Yeah. Well, I mean, but okay. So along those lines, I grew up. Mine, I feel like, leaned more evil. But again, you know, hurt people. So, you know, I'm sure that leading up to having had children, my parents went through some stuff. And knowing everything that I know about my grandparents on both sides, well, great-grandparents on the one side, but grandparents, especially on my father's side, there was some evil, you know, and evil rolls downhill.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've also very much had that dream of just getting the hell out of here. And so for me, theater did that.
Sure.
Because theater meant I didn't have to be at home. I started doing theater when I was 8. And I didn't have to be at home. But then also, it taught me English because, you know, I moved to the States when I was 11.
Right.
Didn't speak much English. Moved to the States when I was 11.
What was your origin language?
I was born in Germany. I'm one of them immigrants. I am. I'm one of them immigrants. So I was born in Germany. Moved. I mean, we'd come here a couple of times when I was younger because, like, my dad's family's from Texas.
There's a different language. And so we moved from Heidelberg, Germany to Louise, Texas, which is about yay big. About yay big. That's to scale what you just did there.
Yeah, yay big. And South Texas.
Yeah.
So moved from Europe to South Texas. There's a culture shock. But also then I had the language barrier. So having theater allowed me, because otherwise I could have become very isolated otherwise. Yeah. In like this weird little, I was the weird little abused kid anyway. So being the weird little abused kid with a language barrier, that's fun, you know. But then discovering books and so I tell people this all the time, and it's so I taught myself how to read in English with War and Peace. So I'm 12 years old.
What?
I have, yeah.
War and Peace.
I know.
Well,
I didn't understand it, but so I had.
You had a lot of pages to choose from.
I had Tolstoy in one hand, and I had a dictionary in the other hand.
You?
I know.
Tolstoy.
That's me. But if you've ever read War and Peace, all the words are in there.
I have not.
All the words are in there. I've read it twice. So I read it then, and then I've read it since then. I'm a big fan of Dead Russians. Like I'm also a fan of the Russian playwrights. But not that I like Russians dead, but
I heard you, and I just let that go because I said, "Well, that's a political commentary, and there's a war going on." So I hear it.
So I had War and Peace in one hand and a dictionary in the other, and I just figured out the words.
Wow, man,
that way.
There's something impressive.
Yeah. So that's how I learned English.
Yeah,
it was with a translation of a Russian novel, like you do. But yeah. So the theater became my escape from all of that. But it also taught me empathy and how other people, not the ones I'm related to, behave in a civilized society.
Yeah, right.
And it also allowed me to pick aspects of personalities from these characters that I got to play that I wanted to keep.
Yes.
So I kept a lot of those. There's a lot of things that have become Sammy-isms that were very much part of the character.
That happens.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that happens.
Yeah. It's the good part of theater.
Well, I mean, you know, absolutely that happens though, and I think tying it into this idea that we're talking about here today of chasing your dreams, being an actor can be a living dream, right? Like you encapsulate this person in this narrative, and if you're really, really good at it, and if you're doing it the right way, you get lost in it occasionally, right? I mean, if you're a professional actor, you try not to do that, but you can get lost in it. Like you can literally and actually become that for the moment that you're in. And I'm not talking about method acting. I'm just talking about belief in what you're doing.
Well, great, because if you're thinking the character's thoughts,
yes,
then it starts to get a little dark in there.
Well, but also,
or light in there.
And if the writing is right, then you understand where the next line comes from. Right? I mean, if you genuinely understand the character, which is critical to being an actor, then you understand where the next line is coming from, which is why when people see, you know, actors with giant monologues, tearing them up or whatever. It's not memorization. It just drives me crazy when people talk about that.
How do you remember all those lines?
But it's not. It's nonsense. You're not remembering it. You're encapsulating it. You become it. The next line generates the next line. If it's good writing, generally, and I mean, it's
good
just,
writing's a lot easier to memorize for that reason.
Absolutely. And as a result of all this stuff, you end up getting better. You're. It's funny. I generally remember every role I've done in some way. Some of them have escaped me because they were nonsensical or silly or whatever it was. But most of them have had some sort of lasting impact on me to the point where it's become a piece of me. Mm-hmm. I take these little things that I've done and they're part of me, and it creates a better me. It always has. It's funny. I wonder if that means I'm a blank slate, Samantha. Is that what that means?
Well, okay. So, but along those lines, I feel like that's the actor's job, is to be a good canvas.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I get you. I feel like that's our job.
The older I get, though, you think that there's less room on that canvas, right? I mean, right?
Well, I don't know. Like, you shove all the colors together, you get, a
gray backdrop that you can write on again, right? Is that what happens? I think that, and this gig that I've got currently, and I call everything a gig because that's who I am. But this gig that I've got currently of running this Bruster's, I own this ice cream store, and it's wonderful, and I love it. I really do. I love it. I've got 30, 35 kids that I employ.
It's crazy. I saw that in your bio. I'm like, 35 teenagers.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, if you had ever said, seriously, let's just say this out loud. If you ever said, okay, Chad's going to get into a business, right? And the business is going to be employing 30 to 35 teenage girls, because mostly it's girls, right? You would go, there's no way he would ever do something like that. I mean, that's the description of hell. Okay. Right. And somehow it's become this thing for me where I'm constantly mentoring these kids in a very healthy way for me.
Yeah.
For me. This has made me a better man.
My tummy keeps growling. I'm sorry.
I like it. It's made me a better man. And we talk about this all the time. I talk to these kids about this all the time. Okay. What is it that you're doing with your life? Okay, especially when you're that age, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, whatever the hell it is. Okay, you're a teenager. Everything is different every single day, including your face. Okay, it all changes on a daily basis. Right. Everything about you at that moment is constantly evolving and changing. You are the blankest slate that you will ever be. You have really, really strong opinions, and they'll be different tomorrow. Okay, so it's amazing how this happens. And the kids are all caught up in these school things, and they're trying to aim their life, and somebody asks them what they want to do and what they want to be, and all I tell them is slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down. Slow down. Slow down. What are you doing? What are you doing? Everything about life is want. It's want, Sammy.
Yeah.
It's want. It's not love. Let me give you an example, okay? You put love in this hand, you put want in this hand, okay? And you feel the weight of those two things. Mm-hmm. Want destroys love.
Yeah.
Daily. Yeah. Every poem, every story that has ever been written about love is about love getting crushed by want. Yeah. It's exactly what happens. Everybody believes that love is this incredibly powerful thing that can't be stopped, and that's complete bullshit. Want is the thing.
I have 3 ex-husbands that would say that.
Amen. Okay, and this is the thing. What led you to those ex-husbands? And I would imagine there's some horror stories in there, but the idea is always about want. Listen, I want something else here. This is no longer what I want.
100%. What, like, every single relationship that I've ever been that has ended has because I grew as a human and I wanted more out of my life, and they did not.
Amen.
And they got mad at me.
Amen. But here's what I'm willing to bet. Secretly inside them, they wanted something else as well. They just weren't advanced enough to understand this at that point.
Yeah.
I'll bet you, because listen, relationships are always two-way streets. Yeah. Okay? It's really hard for me to understand how somebody can be devoutly, emotionally saturated in love with a person and the other person's like, yeah, I'm not into it. I don't believe it. Yeah. What ends up happening is this thing slowly degrades from whatever fire it originally had, and both people are disconnected enough in some way where somebody goes, you know what, I want something else.
Yeah.
The other person may want it to stick around because of commonality or comfort or whatever it might be, but at the end of the day, I guarantee you it's good for them too.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to be in a relationship with anybody who's thinking about something else or wanting something else. You just can't have that. So if you go back to these 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds, my question to them all the time is, what do you want?
I ask my kids that all the time.
What do you want?
What do you want your life to be?
And there is the whole thing about chasing your dreams.
Yeah.
It's the question isn't what is your dream? The question is, what do you want? And the dream is chasing it.
Right.
There's the dream.
So I don't know if you know this. So I am in the process of closing my business. It's a slow process.
It's a sad story.
But it isn't.
Tell me why.
Why it's not?
Yeah.
Because it was never my dream.
There it is.
Like, I loved it. And my mistake in this, and I admit it, is that I get wrapped up in but I can. I get very wrapped up in that I can. Like, well, I could do this. This is a thing I can do.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it. But owning a store, much less 3.
Yeah.
But I got all wrapped up in because everyone was like, oh, you could do this. This is a thing you can do. You could do this thing. I'm like, yeah, but that's not what I want. And the pandemic made me a little crazy, like it did a lot of us. And so in the middle of this pandemic, I'm being presented these opportunities. I'm like, well, I can't do the thing I want to do, but I can do this. And so I focused all that want to energy into the can do. That's what people give me. I mean, I know you've seen this. I get such flack all the time because I do too much. I'm like, but you don't understand. I have a list of things I have to do, and I have a list of things I want to do. Yeah. And I don't want to shortchange the want tos just because I have the have tos.
It's really well said.
So does that mean I'm busy as hell all the time? Yeah. But that means I get to do the want tos, and the want tos keep me going so that I can get through the have tos.
Sure, of course. Totally reasonable.
So as the soaps started encountering all these and I'm also a big believer, and if you are doing what the universe wants you to be doing, it's not going to be this freaking hard all the time. I did the soaps for 12 years.
That's a lot of soap, man.
It's a lot of soap. I didn't count, but my guess is I probably made at least 500,000 bars. I had to have.
Wow.
In 12 years, I had to have.
Wow.
And because I've given away at this point almost 70,000. So which I'm so proud of. But so as I'm taking this down, and it's going to be a long extended process of it, and we're either going to close or we're going to try to sell it. I'd like to find someone who could buy it. Mm-hmm. And I don't even care about how much money I get out of it, but there's things that have to be covered. But because I'd like it to not die because 12 years of my life, but also because there are people out there who have skin stuff. Yeah. That my stuff is the thing that solves that problem for them. So I would like to not take that from them. Right. So if someone else can pick up that mantle and run with it, fine. But it's interesting that you have to ask yourself that question. So when we were trying to decide what to do, I was like, well, I can do this. And then Bruce, my husband, was like, yeah, but do you want to? Mm-hmm. I was like, no.
There it is.
Yeah. So, that's it. That's what it is.
That's it.
So, yeah, I mean,
as
so
soon
just
as you
can
say
do
the
something.
words, as soon as you say the words,
but do you want to?
I don't want to, or I want to, everything changes.
It does. And it's remarkable how much society pushes back on people who do things they want to do.
Instantly.
Yeah.
That's
well, what makes you think that you should get
Samantha, that is the problem. That you just absolutely nailed a societal issue. The societal issue we have with all the politics and the noise of people screaming about this and that and whatever. Okay. It's that some people do and most people don't. Right. And the people that do things are hated and despised by the people that don't. Everybody has wants. Few pursue them. And that's really dream chasing.
Yep.
Really. And everybody that does this, they're the first thing to do is well, you can't. You couldn't. That's never going to. You cannot imagine the amount of people that told me that this was never going to work with this ice cream store that I've got.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
It's ice cream. Everybody who doesn't like ice cream.
Well, certainly, but you're you, okay? Okay? But most people look at that and go, well, Chad, you can only sell this ice cream 8-9 months a year. You got winter in Pittsburgh. I mean, how does a business model work where you're going to invest all this stuff?
Because there are people like me. And I'm not kidding. When do I crave ice cream? When there's snow on the ground.
Well, that's why.
Otherwise, I don't want it.
Yeah, well, you're a snow. You know.
I am a
The
snowbird.
thing with you with snow
I
is
like
a
snow.
little, you
But
got a
yeah,
problem there.
but that's like when it's cold.
Sure.
I was actually thinking the other day because I'm like, oh, it's starting to get chilly, and I was like, oh, and because I was driving past your place, I'm like, oh, I should go get because when when it's too hot out, I don't want it.
Thank you.
But when
good.
it's cool out, that's when I tend to
It's
show
good
up at your
all
place.
the time. But the issue is not necessarily just about the ice cream. The issue is, and I've said this to everybody about what I'm really selling there. Okay, we make incredible ice cream. It's
You do.
tremendous. Okay, but that's not the point.
The cherry vanilla is so good.
It is good, but what I'm really selling is 15 minutes of bliss.
Yeah.
And I don't care how you get that.
Yeah.
Like when you come to that little store, you can sit outside in the middle of the city on a bench with trees surrounding you, eat an ice cream cone. I got lights and music. It's 15 minutes. Yeah. So whatever the ice cream cone costs, it doesn't matter the time of the year that you're doing it. You get 15 minutes away. And that's really what it is. And everybody's looking for that. So my point was always, well, I think this is going to work. Why don't you think it's going to work? And it's not that people were thinking that it doesn't work. What they were saying is, well, I wouldn't do it. It's too much of a challenge for me. So or they were thinking to themselves, well, I wouldn't really want you to succeed at this because it makes my life look like a failure.
Oh my God.
Right?
I get that all the time.
Well, of course.
Like as if I'm judging them. I'm like, I'm too busy. Listen, no offense. I am too busy doing my
time to judge
I
you.
have no time to think about your shit, much less judge it. I have no time. Nor do I want to because I'm too wrapped up in the things I'm doing. But I think that's true for most people. I think most people who have something going on in their lives are too wrapped up in whatever it is that they're doing to give two shits about what you think about what they're doing.
Of course.
And people who are happy and solid in themselves or happy and solid in the pursuit of themselves don't have the time, energy, or inclination to rip down someone else for doing what they want to do.
Let's say that you were really being honest about things. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people in general.
The universal you.
Right, the universal you. Yuns.
God, don't.
That's what the universal you
I've
is.
never non-ironically said Jens.
Yeah, me neither. It's funny, not to get off track on that, but I grew up here. I'm a Pittsburgh guy. I grew up in Canonsburg, and I've been surrounded by Yinzers my entire life, okay? And one of the reasons that I worked quite a bit as an actor is that I don't sound like I'm from Pittsburgh, okay? I just don't. Right. But I can totally shift into that freaking gear, and I can do it on demand, right? So it's funny when I do it occasionally. Oh, it's true, I can do it. And, when I shift into that gear, it can be shocking, okay? But I can float with the Yinzers from time to time. But in any case, people chasing their dreams are often held down by people that have been afraid to chase their dreams. Yeah. And this is the problem with it. We do not live in a world of supportive masses, but everybody admires a winner. Okay? So anybody who tries to win or succeed or get happier, you've got like this collective tether being held by all the people that didn't chase their stuff or attempt to do things. And they're like, well, you can't, and it's not going to work for you because it never did for me. And the answer is you got to cut that shit off. You got to cut them away and let them go because I don't have fucking time for it, man. Yeah. I don't have time for it. I do not have time for your can't. Ever. And that's the best thing that I can be as the 52-year-old version of me. Every year that I live, every day that I'm alive, I'm trying to be a better version of me. And it's never, ever involved the word can't. Right. I tell this to every kid that's around me. The can't thing is the worst word in your vocabulary. You can. Of course you can. You also can fail.
And that's okay.
But that's not can't.
Right.
Can't is you're not willing to try.
Right.
You can get across the field. You can climb the naked wall. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to run through it. Maybe it's not climbable, but there's a way around it.
Right.
You've got to try. I spent 6 years in the Army a long time ago. It's not impressive by any stretch of the imagination.
Thank you for your service.
That's very nice of you to say. Mostly what I did was push-ups, okay, and nonsense. But I was in military intelligence during the Gulf War in the early 90s, okay? And it sounds impressive. It's not. I can draw on maps and I can use a compass, okay? Those are my...
being able to draw on maps and use a compass is a very usable skill.
But not really anymore because my phone does all that shit now. So I can't even, it's like, what do I have that skill for? But in any case, okay?
In the apocalypse, we're going to need you.
That's right. I can run a back azimuth and get me out of a desert situation where I don't know where I am, but that's my only skill as a human. Also, I can make really good hot chocolate. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. The whole thing about life is about busting through the wall. Whatever it is. Figurative, actual, monumental, emotional, psychological. You've got to get through it.
Yep.
And young people don't know how to do this. And I don't know if it's because their parents aren't actively teaching them that skill, pushing them. I can tell you this. And I don't mean this in a critical way. It's a fact. Many young people have never been asked to do anything.
Yeah.
And they certainly have never been forced to do anything.
Right.
I complained initially about my parents, right? When we sat down
Right.
there, my parents were angry, miserable people. But what they did for me at a very early age was not give a damn about my can't.
Right.
They couldn't have cared less about me going, I can't. They couldn't have cared less. Your can't is not on the table here. Do it or die.
Right.
Okay? And that, there's something to be said for that.
Grit.
Because,
Yeah.
Because the point is who we are and what we are, down to the molecules of us, are possibilities. It's all this miraculous possibility of being that you've got. And the question isn't what can't you do? The question is, what can you do?
Right.
And you're driving that car.
So this morning, I saw a Michael Caine quote. Michael Caine?
Those are always good. You have to do it in his voice if you can.
I can't do the
I
Michael
can't do
Caine.
it either.
I can't. I'm not a mimic. But he was talking about basically living through the difficulties and finding the possibility in the difficulties. It's like, okay, I have this difficulty. All right, that's what it is. But how can I use this difficulty to my advantage?
Sure.
Which I love.
Absolutely. It's fuel.
Oh my God, yeah. And I think that there's just as much to, because mentorship is really important, but if you don't have mentorship, you can use the negativity that you do have as a form of mentorship. It's like, okay, I don't have anyone to aspire to, but I know what I don't want to be.
They're all the building blocks of you, and they're building you or they aren't building you. You use them all.
Right.
Use it all.
Yeah.
I mean, every failure you have is the best possible fuel for your success.
Yep.
It teaches you what not to do.
What not to do is just as important as what to do.
In fact, more. I mean, like, everything that you do and you attempt and you fail teaches you, well, that didn't work. I'm going to try this. And now I don't have to do that again. Like yesterday, the whole corporate structure of Bruster's had me come out and talk to a whole bunch of potential new owners, right? And they do that with me because I'm an enthusiastic guy and I've turned something that probably shouldn't have been successful into something that is successful. Whatever. Okay, fine. I'm doing that. But when I talk to these people, I can instantly see who they are. Instantaneously. The people that are actively engaged in asking me how, as opposed to the people that are actively engaged in terms of asking me, what did it cost?
Yep.
There's the difference.
Yep.
The difference is somebody's curious about how did you get this done, as opposed to somebody going, how much did it cost you to get this done? The point is not what it cost. The point is, what did you do to make it work?
Right.
I don't care what the effort was. There was some effort that you made and are continuing to make that allows you to succeed. Everybody has got these roadblocks. Everybody. Whether they're physical or emotional or psychological or intelligence, whatever it is, you have these emotional, physical, intelligence barriers to you. But they're imaginary. It's all imaginary. You are this mythical, ethereal amalgamation of stuff, and the only thing that matters is how you're using it. If you can't use your legs and your arms, then you damn sure better be charming and fun.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you can't grab onto people. Right. So you better make them want to grab onto you.
Right.
And that's the point of everything. If you're fully functional as a human being and you've got all these assets and things that are going for you, then for God's sake, man, act like the Superman you are. You've got these superpowers. Go use them. The whole life is ahead of you. There's literally no roadblocks ahead of you. You're born into the United States of America at the wealthiest moment in the history of the planet. You've got all this possibility to live 100 years on this planet or more. What are you doing? Are you sitting around reading the newspaper and bitching about Donald Trump? Because if you are, shut up, man. Go run for office. Go do something. Because that idiot is beatable.
Yeah.
Just by you living your best life.
That's why I'm a judge of elections, because I'm very much one of those people who's like, did you vote? Did you vote? Did you vote? Did you vote?
Yeah, what are you doing?
And it's because I'm like, did you vote? Did you vote? Did you vote? I figured I should put my ass where my mouth is. And so 4 times a year, my ass is sitting in the fire hall, helping people vote.
You're such an admirable person. It pisses me off.
Shut up.
No, it does. It like you do all these things later, and you're like, oh, I forgot I was this, elections representative too. Oh shit, she does that too. That's right.
So, do you know the crab in a bucket theory? Do you know this? Do you know what that is?
I guarantee you, I do not know what that is.
Okay, so you're kind of on the track with this. So there is a thing called crabs in a bucket, where like if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket and one of them tries to get out, the rest of the crabs will actively pull down the one trying to escape, because it's safe in here. We don't know what's out there. So so people who, if someone is trying to achieve something great, relative greatness, folks around them will try to stop them from doing it, not because they're jealous, not because for any other reason other than they think they are protecting them from themselves. My ex-husband had this grandmother, and anytime he talked about trying to do anything, and it didn't matter what it was, she said, well, you can't do that, you'll get hurt. Well, you can't do that, you'll fail. Well, you can't do that. And in her brain, I honest to God believe this, even though she's not my favorite human, in her mind, I think she honest to God thought she was protecting him.
Yeah.
But the amount of damage that did to him, of years of you can't. And if all you hear your entire life is you can't, you can't, and you don't have it in you to fight that, you're going to be stuck in that bucket.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So
absolutely,
it's like that relationship ended because of his insistence on staying in that bucket and my refusal to stay in a bucket. But I think that happens to people. And so I think it's important for folks who see people who are doing things. I think it's important for them to see the successes, but I also think it's important for those people to see that sometimes we screw up, and sometimes we screw up hard, but we don't stop. We just keep going. Whatever that looks like, you know what I mean? Whatever that looks like, I think it's important for them to see that you just keep going.
Every single person who has ever succeeded at anything, it was not their first time trying.
Right.
It's not. It's just bullshit. It's like somebody gets caught doing something, like your kids, right? You catch them doing something. They go, "Oh my God, it was the first time I ever did it." That's complete bullshit. You've done it 50 times. I just caught you this time.
Right.
Okay. And it's the exact opposite with success. There's no chance that it was your first time, and if it was, okay, fine. But most of the time, it's the 5th time, it's the 7th time, it's the 15th time. You just keep getting up, and then eventually you succeed. And then somebody goes, man, that sure was easy for them. All that success. And you're like, well, you don't know, but I don't. And, that's right. You're right. It was easy.
The words,
I just backed into
you
the
are
success.
so lucky, make me want to scream.
But those are aggressive words. Samantha.
Right. You are so lucky is very aggressive.
But that is somebody basically telling you to take your success and go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That is exactly what that is.
That's exactly
You're
what that
so
is.
Lucky. What the hell are you talking about?
Right.
What are you talking about? This was not easy. I didn't get lucky. This wasn't a scratch-off ticket.
So there's the, you're so lucky, and then there's the, well, I'm not built that way.
What does that mean?
I don't think,
We're all made up of the same shit.
We have the same 24 hours in our
I'd
day.
like that person to sit down with my parents for 15 minutes. And then, tell me, seriously, just go back in time to 1978 and take a look at what I was dealing with in 1978, okay? Now, look, I'm advantaged in ways that are unbelievable to other people from this planet, okay? I'm not so obnoxious to think that my life was more difficult than anybody else's. I'm just saying that my math is my math, okay? And those people, they were tethers. They were anchors trying to keep my ship locked down, okay? Not because they were angry, just because they don't know any better.
Right.
I had to break free of that shit, and it's been hard. My wife has never met my mother. Ever.
Really?
Not one time. She's never met her. Now, this is not me being some horrible person. It's what's best for business. And I mean this. Like, I've got this relationship with my wife, and the reason that it's great is because I don't bring my bullshit into it. And my bullshit is my past.
Yeah.
And I leave it behind me. Occasionally, it shows up, and it tethers itself to me again, and I got to break free again. Okay? But the point is, my job is to be the best version of me at all times.
Right.
I owe it to my wife. I owe it to the family. I owe it to her family. I owe it to my friends. I owe it to my business. I owe it to the fucking planet I live on.
Yep.
I've got to be the best version of me. So, this is another thing people do all the time. People say all the time, I'm trying to help this person get happier, right? Like, what do I got to do to make this person happier? All you have to do is be better.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. Every time somebody brings that stuff up where they're looking at this person and that person's struggling, they think, how can I help this person? All you have to do is be great. You be the best version of you and people will flock to you. They will come to you. They will, the crab thing. It's funny that you bring that up. Let's say that we took this from a different perspective. I think you got crab in your stomach.
My stomach keeps growling. Sorry.
Samantha, think of the crab bucket in a different way.
Okay.
Let's say that the crabs are not trying to pull the crab that's trying to escape down. What if they're trying to hang on to him so he can pull him out?
So I have a friend who has said to me these words. He said, honest to God, he said, my entire career plan is to ride your coattails.
And this is the point.
I was like, I don't have any coattails, but okay.
But take it back, okay? What we're talking about today is pursuing your dreams. Pursuing your dreams. But that's what that one crab is doing. He's got the dream of trying to get the hell out of this bucket, and he's climbing out of the bucket. Now, some people can see that the crabs underneath are pulling him down, but maybe, just maybe, they're trying to grab onto him so he can pull them out too, so they can follow their dreams. And this is the whole point of pursuing your dreams. If you focus on it and you don't worry about the people behind you, maybe, just maybe, you're blazing a trail for them. And isn't that really what this is all about? Like, this business that I'm doing, right? It's selling ice cream, but it's so much more than that. I've got these kids that are in the same position I was in the 80s with my parents, okay? And maybe, just maybe, I can be the beacon of light and hope and want to for them that allows them to pursue their dreams.
Speaking of which, according to your bio that you sent me, there's a second location coming?
Well, we'll see. It's funny.
I was like, this is news to me. What?
It's funny. We're I'm fortunate that the store is successful. And I know this. I know I am. But at the same time, I think that I would like to repeat this model in a different spot. Ideally, I would like to do it in a place where the climate doesn't change into winter for 5 months a year.
So you're thinking...
Oh, I'm thinking much bigger, but ideally there are other locations in the Pittsburgh area that I think that if I got my hands on them, I can do some interesting things with them. That have been around for a long period of time, and they're just kind of there. And I think that I have vision and an idea of what I'd like to do. But it's not really for me even trying to just sell more ice cream or have another successful store. I like what it does for the community, Samantha. I'm telling you,
that's the reason I stuck it out for 12 years. But if you're doing a good thing, it helps.
It's funny. What you were doing was really heavy lifting with the making of the soap and all the stuff like that, and it takes months to do. And I've learned about making soap from you just by watching what you do. What I can tell you is what I've done with this has really made me a part of a community that I never would have anticipated for, specifically the Jewish community, which is hilarious because I am not religious in any possible way, okay? There is none of that in me, okay? I am a spiritual human being, but I am not a believer in any God, okay, by any stretch of the imagination, okay? And believe me, I'm critical of you if you do.
Right.
I am. I'm that guy. If you tell me you believe in God,
guys. Yeah,
but listen to me. If you're a believer in God, I want to see it, man. Show it to me. And I don't mean prove to me that God exists. Prove to me that you believe it, because that's what I have a hard time believing, that you actually do. Okay. That being said, what I have done in this last few years of owning the store is been involved with a lot of people that genuinely do. Mm-hmm. It's shocking to me because I never really grew up in that world. So we made the store kosher, which is great. And there are so many, because, Squirrel Hill is a massively Jewish community. It's actually the biggest Jewish community east or west of New York City, which is crazy how heavy it is. Yeah. So fortunately, I was smart enough to do that at the implementation of the store to make it kosher. But I've been surrounded by all of these Jewish people for 2 years now. And in many ways, I'm like an adopted Jew, which is funny in and of itself. But I constantly see this, and there are so many people that are seeped in belief, and I admire it now. I admire it. I don't agree with it, but I admire it. But you don't
have to agree with something to admire it.
That's correct. It's absolutely 100% correct. I do not have to agree with it to admire it, and I admire it. As a matter of fact, I'm in some ways envious.
Yeah.
To have that belief.
To believe so strongly.
That there's there's this thing that goes on outside of what we know as reality, and really there's more purpose to life than just this thing. It must be this great relief to get up every morning with that. Yeah. To know that, your time is not limited, that there's more to it than this, that there's no actual finish line, that you don't, you know what I mean? I don't see it that way. My belief is there's black and there's white, and I really like being in the light. Okay, I really do, because the darkness is not for me. Sincerely, I like the light. I like the smells. I like the tastes. I like the touch. I love being alive, man. Okay, and wasting it is the stupidest thing that you can do. I say this to all of my kids. I say it to everybody that I meet, and I'm going to say it to you. Imagine that you're on your deathbed. That this is it. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you lived your life, right? Like, you've got your people around you. You're fortunate enough to have your people around you, and they're saying goodbye. What would you give in that moment to be back in this moment, right now, where we sit right freaking now? Now imagine you are in it. That just happened. You just got it back. What are you going to do with that time? What are you going to do with it now? Because I guarantee you, on your deathbed, you're going to look back at these moments and go, oh my God, there's so much more I would have loved to have done with my life.
That's why I'm closing my business.
But this is it, right? You're not closing your business because you're some person that failed. You want to do other things.
Yeah.
There's other things that you want to do with your time. That's one chapter of your life. Here comes the next chapter.
That I'm super proud of.
You should be.
Yeah, I'm super proud of it.
Listen,
I wish the last 6 months hadn't happened.
Owning 3 locations of anything is insanity. Yeah. Okay? It's absolute insanity, let alone producing the product that you got to push out to 3 locations, and then employing people and dealing with 3 different entities. It's so much. So much. As you were doing this, I'm like, Samantha's better than me.
No, because for me it was I wanted to see what would happen if I did. So I did, and I was like, nope.
Look,
but I did. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't. So now I can go on with the rest of my life, and I don't have to worry or wonder what if I had tried, because I did.
It's just another chapter in your life, and your building blocks in the pyramid of Samantha. We got to get you something to eat, girl.
I know. But so now I'm taking all of that energy and all of that time and all of the resources and all of the things that I've learned in the last 12 years, and I'm going to apply it to my acting career.
Well, and you should.
I'm so
because
excited.
that is clear to anybody who knows you that is your dream.
Yeah.
And your pursuit of it is admired by all, specifically me. I wouldn't be here otherwise. I have one request to our listening audience or viewing audience out there today.
It's both. It's a little bit of both.
Let's do both. You said 500,000, probably 500,000 bars of soap, right?
Probably.
Artists listening, people that, create art. I have a project for you. Here's what I want you to do. It can't be me because I'm nowhere near this talented, but you could create a mosaic of 500,000 bars of colorful soap and create a big face of Samantha. And I would love to see that done. As a matter of fact, if you guys want to reach out to me, I will support this financially. So if there's an artist out there, okay, that wants to do this, get in contact with me. I own the Brusters in Squirrel Hill. Call the store, and I will call you back, and we'll discuss a fee about you pursuing that piece of art for Sammy. Because I'm telling you, as soon as you said it, I saw it in my head. I could see it. I could see the mosaic, and I'm like, oh, what are those? Those are little bars of soap.
Oh, my God.
And it's like 500,000 of them. It would be a perfect thing. I'm not a creative guy, but that was the peak of my creativity right there. So
That's beautiful.
there you go. For the record, I will not be doing that because it would look like mud.
I mean, I can paint, but I'm not that good.
You're more talented than me, I guarantee you that.
I've been enjoying the painting. The painting's been good.
It's therapeutic.
Anyway, oh my gosh, it's been an hour. Thank you.
That was an hour?
Yeah. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So thank you. Oh my gosh. This is so much better than I was hoping it was going to go. So thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Shut up. Oh my God.
There's 3 of us here today. It's
You, me, and my
Samantha, me,
stomach.
and Samantha's growling tummy.
I had breakfast and everything. 'cause
You didn't
Bruce
have
makes-
enough. Let's get you something to eat, girl.
Oh my gosh, so embarrassing. Anyway, so thank you so much for being here and being a part of this and a part of this weird new thing that I'm doing.
It doesn't feel weird or new. It feels very comfortable.
That's
reflective of you, by the way.
Thank you. I'm digging this.
Oh, it's cool.
This whole thing. I'm
Super
really
cool.
digging it. So anyway, so thank you guys so much. Keep going out there, getting after it, and I will see you next time.